Whether you're a broker, an agent, or a team leader, innovation is all around you. And the big subject is AI. Today, I spoke with Tiffani Marroquin. She is growth and innovation for JPAR Real Estate. And she shares a lot of the applications that she is working on building for JPAR and the affiliates. To help them become more efficient and really take advantage of the technology and innovation that's out there today. So enjoy. Tiffani, welcome to the Real Trending podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I want to start by having you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and, how you really got interested in AI, since that is the subject of the day.
Absolutely. And, it really, when I'm thinking about it, it goes back to being raised, growing up as a millennial, and being in a time where there's just like major technological advancements. And seeing both of my parents, both incredibly hardworking parents, just waking up before sunrise, taking that long commute to work, and then getting home late at night. I always just thought, there has to be a better way, right? And I really started just exploring like efficiencies and just better ways and better options on ways to live your life. And initially it led me into real estate. A lot of that, thanks to technology and things. But then now with AI, it's just been a game changer, like complete game changer, especially when it's used properly. Just taking over all the tasks, making automations easier, and really just it just represents like that promise of technology, just freeing up your time for what really matters, and not just doing things a certain way because that's the way they've always been done.
Yeah, absolutely. And so your growth and innovation for JPAR what is your exact title?
Yeah, so that is my exact
Okay.
exact title. It's it's changed a lot over the years. I've been with the company coming up on my 5th year, and I've done a little bit of everything. I started out with recruiting and business development, moving on to franchise sales, operations for our affiliates. And now it's just kind of a little mix of everything. And I've just kind of taken it out on my own to also start implementing AI in everything I do for JPAR.
Okay, great. And my next two questions are just fun questions to kind of get to know you a little bit better. So, what is a talent or hobby that you have that people would be surprised to hear about?
So most people know that I love to travel, but what they don't realize is that I'm one of those people that loves planning the trips and planning, whether it's a retreat or a mastermind or a family trip. And again, this is another thing that I really love about AI. I'm planning an 80th birthday celebration for my dad, and we're going to Europe for a ski trip. And, it's like putting together all these little puzzle pieces. And by being able to use AI, it's taking that process of like doing all the research and all the planning and just like squished it down into being able to do it in hours and get all of my family like in and involved and able to go as well. So it's like my little companion now for
Oh
like
yeah, I
other personal
love it.
things as well.
Yeah, I love it. I used it for a trip that I went on with my mom and my sister, and then we're going to Paris on Monday. And so
Oh,
I did it for a whole itinerary for the Paris trip and kind of plugged in the places that I really wanted to go and stuff. So yeah, it's great. So
yes. Like,
yeah. Um,
absolutely.
so what is the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Well, moving to Cabo San Lucas with a 12-year-old son definitely takes the cake. It's something I've always wanted to do is live at the beach. I've also wanted to raise my son in a different country and learn Spanish. That one's taking a little longer. But now we're approaching our 4th year, and he's thriving at an international school here. Our lifestyle is just completely transformed. It's way more laid back, definitely more aligned with our values. And, technology is to thank for that. A big part of it, a little bit of that and a little bit of like just putting myself out there and doing it. And yeah, AI can really make that possible for more people, which is really exciting.
That is amazing. I would love to live in Cabo. So, so let's talk a little bit about how you're leveraging AI and like machine learning to enhance the experience of like the affiliates of JPAR, and just in your business.
Sure, absolutely. So there's several ways, but a few things I just want to touch on would be the first one, the kind of the biggest one is I hosted a workshop to where I like to call it creating the second business brain, which is a knowledge base that has been input into ChatGPT, and you're creating your own custom GPT for your business. And that can be used for so many different things. It really helps, especially if you're not great with prompting the AI that you're using, because it already has a lot of your business information. It's going to know what exactly you're wanting. So whether it's, creating an email campaign or just content creation, something more along the lines of marketing, or if you're really wanting to dive into your like SWOT analysis, or maybe a hiring manual or training workbook, it's going to help with those things. So that's one way that I think is huge. And I think every business should have one. Um, Another thing that we've also done, which also helps our agents, not just our affiliates, but we've taken a personality quiz, or personality profile, turned it into a quiz with AI. And then we've also matched it up with our, technology, our resources, our training that we have internally, and turned it into by the personality type, which one is going to be better, which training route should they take. So it's really like hyper focused on their personalization and different onboarding tracks based on their personality type is another way. And then, I could go on and on and on. I'll just share one more, but really a one that I really like is the ability to pull transcripts from past trainings, or let's just say something's on YouTube. You want to pull that transcript and turn it into either a knowledge base or a different training, or content for one of your social medias. Being able to do that has also been a game changer as well.
Okay. I have a question for you on AI in general. So, from what I understand, everything that you like, if you're just on regular Chat GPT, everything you're putting into it, they can then use and they're learning from. And that information is, if it's confidential, you really don't want to put it into Chat GPT. Is that what you're talking about with the first thing, where you build your own that is more of like a closed system?
Right. So if you build your own, there's different options that you have within. If you're using ChatGPT, for example,
Right.
you can have it as private to where
Mm-hmm.
nobody else is going to be able to see that. You can also have it to where you share the link with other people, or you can have it as public. So if that answers your
Okay.
question about that. So you can keep
Yeah.
it where it's private. They're not going to, ChatGPT is not going to go on. You're going to be like, hey, show me so-and-so's tax return. It's not going to do
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's
Or
just
their business
that like
plan.
any confidential information, I this is what I've talked to with many brokers, and they're kind of like, I don't want to put, like, if I want what are these spreadsheets analyzed, let's say, I don't want to put that information in there because I don't want like Chat GPT or AI to then learn from my information and spit out an answer to someone else, even though it's not specifically mentioned that they're the source of the information.
Right.
That
And
makes
that's
sense. Yeah.
it's not going to be it's pulling the information and learning from you and from your business to use
Yeah.
with you. It's not taking that and pulling it on a larger scale and be like, yeah, we're using this for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for, clarifying that, because I wasn't really sure. I've never actually looked into it, but I know that it's been discussed before, how private that information is, and that there are settings that you can actually make it private.
Mhm.
Um, so let's talk about how technology and innovation have really shaped your strategy for scaling the business.
Yeah. So, scaling, I don't think it's really about doing more. It's about doing things smarter. And the key in that is actually going through an assessment of your business and, and each part of your business and really discovering like where AI and automation can provide that, strategic support. And so really it's like having a digital co-pilot that understands your business's unique DNA and just giving any professional time to really do what they do best, whether that's building relationships and creating value, or maybe they are someone that likes living in the paperwork or something, but taking whatever it is and just expanding on kind of like what the weaknesses are and taking your strengths, being able to use those more and expanding on the weaknesses, kind of helping out there, that balance.
Okay, let's talk about some emerging trends. What are you seeing out there kind of in the industry that you think will really offer a lot of value to brokers or to agents as they grow their businesses, especially in the technology world, obviously?
Yes, it's so much and it's advancing so rapidly. I really love the predictive analytics
Mhm.
because for an agent wanting to be able to really help and work with their clients and also keep them as clients through the years, having that predictive analytics, like basically know their client better than they do and know when there's
Mhm.
going to be a big life decision or maybe even a small one, something that they wouldn't even think of. AI is going to be able to pick up on that. That's one thing. And I do want to mention though that human connection is always going to be paramount in that.
Mhm.
So all AI is going to do is just supplement it. It's going to personalize it, make it a little more meaningful, and just kind of as help in that way.
Yeah. So let's break down a little bit. You talked about some of the things you're doing in the business for the agents. What are some, applications for agents other than writing a listing description or building, a marketing or a social media post? What are you seeing as the most efficient or most impactful ways that they can use AI in their businesses?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and I think it really depends on the particular agent
Mhm.
and what it is they need. It's definitely can do more than writing a listing presentation. In fact, you can take if let's say you're a top producing agent and you have a lot of clients. And rather than going in and searching them less yourself and having to pull out those and then email the clients, what it is, you can actually
Mhm.
automate that process, automate and use AI as well. So there's the two
Mhm.
different parts of it, but they can actually have like the data scraping of the MLS and match that with their clients' needs and even send the emails or not, have it set up as a
Yeah.
draft. And all they have to do is hit that send button.
And how are, I know that there are a lot of ways that people can detect AI and that. What do you recommend they do to make it their own so that it doesn't, like, I've noticed that when we get contributed articles, I can tell which ones are AI because they usually start out with in the difficult business of real estate, comma, or in the, like it's the same little phrase in that first
Hmm.
paragraph. But what are some ways that they can really make it their own, and but use it to really make
Right.
themselves more
Because
efficient?
we definitely want to get rid of, I hope this email finds you well.
Yes, for sure.
Um, yes, there's, if you're using a particular AI tool, like a large language model, it's going to start learning how you speak. Another really great thing that you can do if you're someone that has if you've written blog posts, if you've had any posted any videos online, you can actually take that and spit it out into your AI and say, this is, model how I speak and how I talk in your responses. And then there's certain words you can tell it to take out. So that way it's not always being so like, okay, this is definitely automated. And it starts getting better. You start telling it what to do. Like, hey, I don't like that. Don't do it again.
So if you're a broker and you want, to put together information for your agents. You're saying that they can take all the videos, just links to the videos, put them in AI and say, use these as an example of the way I speak or the whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you
And then
can use
it can,
that. I do think it's probably a little better if you take the transcripts. And there's
okay.
a tool that you can actually, a free tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Glasp, and you can actually pull out any transcripts from anything that you have maybe listed on like YouTube, for example, and
Okay.
then spit that into your language model, large language
Okay.
model.
What is it? What is it called again?
It's called Glasp, GLASP.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought, but I wanted to make sure. So what do you think are like the biggest challenges that you're facing in particular, from a large company perspective in implementing these AI technologies and really, especially and obviously, like you said, a traditionally relationship oriented business, because it will always be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, I think the biggest hurdle in this is mindset.
Mm-hmm.
This is something new. And anytime there's a big change or something, is big and scary, there's a lot of fear around it. And so just realizing that AI is not going to, replace that human touch, that human connection. What it's going to do is help free up time for you, for your agents, for your clients on doing those like mundane tasks that you don't want to do. So, I think just getting in that right mindset that the real risk is not like AI just taking over. It's going to just take over the agents and the brokers that aren't, using it and aren't wanting to evolve.
And I want to go back to kind of some applications for affiliates. How do you, are they kind of sold as value add, or are they really just things you're doing behind the scenes to make the whole process more efficient?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
And not everybody is going to be that involved or that into it because they're busy doing other things, but
Yeah.
it's something more of a source that's there and able, and they're willing, if they're willing to
Mhm.
put in a little bit of time for having that result in the ends.
What do you think would be the most valuable if they had to just do one thing? What would be the one thing you would recommend?
The biggest thing is creating that knowledge base about
Hmm.
their business, about their mission, their vision, their values, their agent personas or their client personas. That's going to be the biggest thing because that does take the longest amount of time to
Yeah,
set those up.
definitely. And then I know, like from a customer persona, I know some agents who have done that where they've taken their database, they've loaded it into, an AI application, and then asked it to find, similarities between different clients and things that they could use to really build the relationship better. How can you do that, like scale that on a brokerage wide level?
Yeah, well, I think on a brokerage, or are you meaning with clients
Or with affiliates, I guess.
or
Uh, Yeah.
agents?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back to talking about the personality profiles
Hmm.
earlier. That's something that you can do. You can have your different, every brokerage is going to be a little different on what agents they're targeting, what agents are going to
Right.
fit for their brokerage, and kind of the same way is
Hmm.
being able to say, hey, I'm targeting agents that are brand new agents, and here's the
Hmm.
qualities, and what's the best plan for being able to support them, or I'm focusing on team leaders only and just
Hmm.
growing the brand that way. How can I support them?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think from a recruiting standpoint, it could be really, really useful. And I know there are
Absolutely.
several companies out there who are actually doing it now as well.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, actually, come to speaking of recruiting,
Hmm.
I'm actually doing a workshop for our owners on recruiting this Friday
Hmm.
on how to implement some AI strategies to help with their recruiting and their retention. So that should be
Okay.
exciting. Give them
Yeah.
some additional ways to do it.
Okay. What would be one of your, what are you going to talk about? What are some of the top ones that you really feel could be applicable?
Well, one of the most exciting ones is the AI clone of themselves.
Okay.
I think that's, well, that's just kind of, it's amazing, like
Mhm.
the output you can get from creating these clones, because that's going to help with, um, you know, easily being able to create, maybe it's a welcome video and it's not something,
Mhm.
it's not perfect yet, but the best part is this is the worst it's ever going to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely.
so being able to create those AI clones and put out just personalized messages for different types of agents.
You obviously educate yourself a lot on, as a growth and innovation professional, on what's going on in the industry as far as technology and the trends. So, what are you seeing out there? Because I feel like AI is kind of in its infancy still. You've got all these different
Mhm.
apps thrown at you, and people, agents, brokers, they don't know what to choose, where to go, and it'll eventually filter down to the best, right? So what are the advancements that you're seeing or that you're most excited about upcoming?
I think really the hyper personalization that you can get from utilizing different AIs, and um, it's exciting because literally every month, every day, there's something new coming out. There's so many different tools. There's so many that it can be difficult to think like, should I be using this one? Should I be using that one? And and being able to find the ones that are going to be the most useful without just kind of like overloading yourself. But really, just that hyper personalization, predictive analytics, again, the conversational AI and how that's getting better, like you were saying earlier, with it, being able to sound more like you, that's advancing every day, and it's going to get better and better and better to where you won't be able to tell the difference, which is
Yeah,
crazy to think about.
I know. That is crazy. And
Hmm.
as far as the different, I guess, Google has one, correct? And then
Yeah.
there's ChatGPT. What are the choices? And kind of give me a rundown of what choices that there are out there, and I don't know if there's differences between them.
There are differences.
Mhm.
ChatGPT is, was the first one to kind of come out and be
Mhm.
like that big one. But Google's Gemini is also
Mhm.
great because if you are a Google user and Google Workspace, and
Mhm.
you do the upgraded plan, there's some really cool advancements that it's doing to where it can live in your Google Workspace
Mhm.
and do like respond to the emails, tell you what's coming up. It can pull the information from your drive. It'll have that information right there. So that's amazing for Google, for
Mhm.
Google's Gemini. But then you have like Claude. Claude is Anthropic's large language model,
Mhm.
and it's just phenomenal at providing. A lot of times I use ChatGPT first because I have
Mhm.
a customized GPT for my business, and then I'll put it over into Claude to like optimize it for whether that be like a training program, or optimize this email campaign to make it sound better, something like that. Claude is really good at that. So each of the different models, there's another, I think those would be kind of the top three. Then there are some other ones that are around as well, but just kind of playing with them and see which one really works best for you and your needs. Can do a lot.
Okay, great.
And you can use them all. I like using them
Yeah.
all together.
Do you? Yeah. And so now, my last question is just really, what advice do you give to other leaders who are really looking to kind of foster a culture of innovation within their organizations?
Definitely embracing change, and just, it sounds cliche, but just always be learning and growing. And then just viewing AI as a collaborative partner and not a threat. And then encouraging like your team members to use it to supplement their work. Don't make them feel bad about using it. Like, oh, I used AI for this, and they don't want anyone to know. It's okay. Um, there's a quote. I won't get it right, but it's by Napoleon Hill, and he talks about how when two minds come together, it creates this like third consciousness, or I don't remember exactly, but think of AI like that. You have you, and now you have the second brain. It may not be as much as like the, third consciousness, as Napoleon Hill said, but definitely as a second brain for you.
Yeah, definitely a collaborator.
Yes.
Well, Tiffani, thank you so much for joining the Real Trending podcast today. I really appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge on AI, and I know our audience will get a lot out of it. So thanks.
Thanks for having me.